And we are live. We are talking about you're not alone. The one thing people don't tell you about when you're moving abroad. This is a great discussion. I'm very excited to bring you members of the Expat Women membership and me to discuss and share our experiences, our thoughts, our insights, and what it felt like when we moved to another country, what we experienced. So I am going to have each of the wonderful women who is on this live stream with me talk about what they do, which countries they've lived in, where they're currently living, and then we'll get into the discussion. Uh, these are members of the Expat Women membership, which is a private membership for women who are looking to build their visibility, looking to build connections, collaborations with other ambitious women who want to make bold moves after they move abroad. So they're not just, they're looking for more than just being an expat. So I'm going to call each of you out based on the name. I'll go in the order, A, B, C, D. So Janaline, go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we'll move to Michelle and then Sonhild.
Okay, hi everybody. I'm Yanaline. I'm originally from South Africa, but I've been an expat for around nearly 24 years. I started my expat journey in England, going across to Vietnam, South Korea, Japan, Chile, UAE, Moscow, Canada, and China. And now living in my 13th country, which is Kuwait. So I've missed a couple of countries there in the name. But yeah, I've been moving around a lot. Every 2 years, I move countries. This is my first time staying in one country for longer than 2 years, planning on staying here for 4 years. I started out as a teacher, so teaching English abroad, and then went into middle school teaching and did an international teaching course, and then realized I want to do more than teaching. So fell into art therapy. Through that, went to Canada, studied art therapy. And right now I have my own online therapeutic art business called Healing Art Journey. And I live in Kuwait, where I'm a middle school teacher, which pays for everything that I do, my travels and job and everything at the moment.
Wonderful.
So
Thank you.
that's a bit of
Thank you. And I know, Janaline, you just shared that you are just back in Kuwait after being, where were you before? Because I know you just school started, so you just came back last evening, right? Where were you before that? Was
I
that
have now spent 3 months out of Kuwait in England. So I actually had a proper summer this year because England does not normally have a summer, but with all the heat waves, it was a proper summer. And arrived back in Kuwait last night, and I will start work again on Sunday in a new flat. So I'm unpacked, and the first corner that I unpacked and set up was my art corner, so that I feel a little bit normal. The rest of the flat, I'm not even showing anybody right now. It's
maybe at
chaos.
the end you can turn the camera and show us. And then next time you're online, you can show us after. Like now we all the before with the boxes, because I'm sure everyone who's moved abroad, lived abroad, traveled abroad. I know I haven't. I came back from India last month. I went to see my mom, and I still have not completely put everything away, and so I have no excuse. So I can imagine how much harder it is when you move to another country and you know. Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for that introduction. Let's
Thanks,
have
Nina.
Michelle next introduce herself.
Sure. And thank you, Nina, for inviting me to join this panel. I think this is going to be a really great conversation. My name is Michelle Cerisi. I am an expat and a repat recently. And I moved to Madrid in January 2025 after spending 18 years in the Washington, D.C. area where I'm from, working first as in the political department for one of the U.S.'s largest labor unions And then I made a transition to marketing and communications work for an economics association in DC. My move abroad journey started actually about 11 years ago with a first attempt to a country that is very near and dear to my heart, which is Italy. But I went without a plan and no visa to stay longer than 3 months. So it wasn't very well thought out. I just, I read a lot about people making it work and just go with the flow. And I thought I can do that. Well, not so much. I realized I'm not really the go with the flow person. I need a plan. I need some structure. So that was a very short-lived move abroad experience. Came back, had to regroup, and got into my last job in marketing. And but in the back of my mind, over the last decade or so, that thought was always still there. Oh, maybe you should try again. Maybe you should try again. And I usually would tell it to be quiet. Until a couple of years ago in 2024, I really started listening to the thought again and taking action on it. And that's when I started researching what's known as the NALCAP program in Spain, the North American Language and Cultural Assistant Program. The Spanish Ministry of Education brings native English speakers into their bilingual schools to assist with English language education. I'd never had any teaching experience before that, but I thought, well, this is the way I can get abroad. So I decided to give it a go. And I left my job in December 2024 and moved to Madrid in January 2025. And I returned to the US in end of March 2026, a little earlier than I had anticipated for some health related reasons. But I also knew that the NowCap program wasn't a long-term sustainable path to living abroad, and knew that I needed to kind of think about next steps. So that's where I'm at right now. I focused on my health and got through that. And lately I've been volunteering as an English as a second language teacher, trying to see if working with adults is something I'd prefer over working with children. Do I want to teach group classes? Do I want to work one-on-one? So I'm in a career transition, and luckily I have the ability to take some time to be intentional about my next steps. So that's where I'm at right now.
Beautiful. Thanks for sharing that, for being so vulnerable and telling us, what you're going through. And I love what you're doing right now, actually, Michelle, because you're trying to figure out, right? And you said luckily you can do it for a while and being intentional. And I think that's how we finally figure out what we want to do next with our lives, right? By just trying things and then saying, this doesn't work, I'll move forward with this. So good job with that. And, just not just rushing, oh, I have to find a job, I'm living in the US, and that was my thing.
The
Yeah,
US. Okay, that's all I will say right now.
yeah, right. And with everything so expensive, but that was when I moved to the US. I was just so focused. I need a job. I need a job. I need a job. And instead of, I just knew what kind of job I didn't want. But I love how you're kind of easing back into it. I think that if people have that opportunity, I think that's the way to do it, because then sometimes you get stuck in the wrong career, and then you don't have the time or the energy to kind of think about what do I really want to do. So, and I think, and I'm sure all three of you who've lived abroad and moved abroad, I think when you move abroad or live abroad, I think that kind of expands your mind, and you tend to be more intentional, maybe strategic. But you're not like if when you lived in your country and you just kind of maybe move from one thing to the next. I think that it opens you up to taking risks, right? I think all of you are taking risks, right? It opens you up to risks, and like, I'm going to try this. I will write, like Michelle, Janine, and I know Sonal, all of you have taken risks by moving to another country, changing. I mean, Michelle, you just took that chance and went to Spain, and even earlier when you went to Italy, and that just, so I just love it, and that's what I find so fascinating and so inspiring about women who have moved abroad, that stepping out of your comfort zone and trying to find the essence of you in a way. So it's beautiful. All right, Sonil, let's hear from you.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation. Yes, I'm originally from Germany. I grew up in Germany, but my second half is Dutch. So my dream was always to live in the Netherlands. And when I finished my school, I moved to the Netherlands after I was 1 year also in Mexico. But my really dream was to live in the Netherlands, and there I did all my studies and so on. And so first dream came true, and I can speak Dutch. It was also a big dream because I didn't learn Dutch when I was younger. And then I met my husband, and he already lived in a lot of countries, and he loves us to live abroad, and he got a new job. And then we decided, or they asked if we can move to California, to Silicon Valley, where we live right now. And my first reaction was like, okay, let's go. And sometimes I don't think about things, so it came out really quick. And then I really noticed, okay, wow, our life will be changed in a really, really different way. And now, after 1 year living here, it feels really good, but also really in a big change. And I'm also in a career, transition, or I'm looking in between jobs. And but what I really, really like to live here, to take, actually to take a risk, but also to meet new people and getting to more, nature and so on. So yeah, everything, it comes with ups and downs. And now I really feel after 1 year, it's going only, not only up, but the moves are going more up than down. And so I'm really glad for this chance also. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sonil. And this today's topic, "You're Not Alone," is actually inspired by Sonil, because she joined the Expat Women membership, I think maybe last month, and
In
she
July.
July, yeah. Yeah. And she wrote, when I asked her, why did you join? She said she had watched some of, so we do this Bold Moves Abroad live chat, live stream every month and it streams on the Expat Woman YouTube channel. Sonil found it on the Expat Woman YouTube channel. She watched some of our previous live streams, and then she decided to join us. But she also shared with me that she felt when she moved to California, she was or the US, she was going through all these challenges, that all of us have faced when we moved to another country, and she thought it was only her. There was something wrong with her, which I know many expats experience, right? We don't
Yeah.
realize this is a normal
Yeah.
thing. And when she told me that, I said, this is such a good topic, because so many of us suffer in silence. And I'm sure,
Yeah.
Janine, as a therapist, I'm sure you come across that often. So, Sonil, thank you for inspiring me to come up. You got
Yeah.
inspired on the live chat, and then you inspired me to create this
Yeah.
wonderful topic. And again, you took a risk by coming here to the US, and then you also took a risk by joining the membership, because you also shared that you decided, I want to join. So and all three of you are new members, and that's so lovely that you've just, I'd say, just started wetting your feet with a membership, and you already said yes when I invited all three of you to be members. I'm not members, to be on this live stream. So huge kudos and congrats to all of you. If someone is joining this on any of our channels and you'd like to introduce yourself, go ahead and do so in the comments. Let us know where you're calling in from. If you have experienced feeling like you're alone and that you were the only one that experienced that, With that, yeah, my name is Naina Kaputi. I'm the founder of the Expat Woman. I founded the Expat Woman in 2013, but it really kicked off in 2014. I'm originally from India, and I moved to the US in the early 2000s. So I've only been an expat once, but even after 23 years, I still feel sometimes like I am straddling two worlds. I'm neither American nor Indian. Like, I don't know who I am. I don't know what home is, especially when I visit India and then come back. So I think that feeling never goes away, but it's so important for us to first of all find people like these wonderful ladies, even though we're meeting virtually. I every time I do a live stream with other expat women, I just feel like my it feeds my soul. It just, it's just so, because we all have experienced these challenges, but through different journeys, right? And it helps to know you're not alone, no matter where you are
Yeah.
in the journey. So my next question is, uh, when you first moved abroad, and I know in your case, Janine, it's been like many moves. Uh, for some of you, it might be one move, two moves. So, when you first move abroad, and you can talk about any step in your journey, either like if the first time you moved or down the road, what was something you struggled with that you didn't expect? And whoever wants to go first can go, and then y'all can piggyback. So, go ahead. Whoever wants to answer that question first.
Well, I think something that I struggled with in the beginning, and maybe even now, still sometimes, every now and again, is that feeling of loneliness, of
Mhm.
you can't you can't communicate with people at home anymore in the way that you want to, because they don't always understand the nuances of the new country where you are, or the problems. And it's that whole thing of, but you've chosen this, it's this beautiful country, you're having this adventure, so why are you complaining? Why are you unhappy? So you feel you're alone because you can't just go and tell somebody I hate this and love this at the same time and have them understand. So it took me a while to find other expats who understand that feeling of, this is lovely and I hate it and it's hard and it's wonderful and I would do it again, but I don't want to do this anymore. I now want to go home, but I don't know where home is anymore.
Nice.
So
That's so true. And yeah, yeah, so many have shared about this, like, especially when you've made the choice to move, like in some cases, maybe you had to move because of your partner, but when you've done it yourself, that you can't really, because it's like you made that decision, and so, and they, yeah. And of course the loneliness. And I think it's also, for me, I also feel because we didn't grow up in the country we lived in, or maybe Michelle, you can share, because you did grow up, I think, in the US maybe, and now you're back, but maybe because of your experiences abroad it has changed you. But I think because we are not in the country where we grew up, so we don't have the school friends and college friends and kindergarten, all those, or even neighbors, that so many, like I see so many Americans here will have those friends from the time they were young, like even my husband, right? I have some friends who moved here from India, but I think because they moved to and I moved to, it's not the same. We are in a different country. That connection, if we is not the same as if we had both continued living in India. So that's, I think, something too, and we also don't have our family around us, right? That's another, so that loneliness is there. And I've been here 23 years and I still struggle with them still, because also I think, as you know, and all of you have shared, when you move to another country, you can't really, you have to find people who've kind of experienced what you experience. And I find that I always seem to gravitate towards other people who have lived abroad, or who have traveled abroad, or who have an international mindset. And I live in a suburb of in the San Francisco Bay Area, and in the suburbs, I don't want to knock all suburban people in the US, but I think it's even less likely to find people who have similar mind. Many of them have not. Their idea of going abroad is maybe Cabo, or maybe going to Hawaii. And and Michelle, again, I don't. It's not. I know you're American, partly American, but I don't know. That's a feeling I get. Like, And then one last thing before I have you guys join, like, and I'm sure all of you have lived in Europe. Like, Europe has all these beautiful castles and cultures. India has also a lot of culture, and then the US. You come back and then it's just strip malls, Costco, freeways. Sonal is laughing, right? It's like, and I tell you, Sonal, I think when you said Germany, I recently went to Germany, all those beautiful castles, and then you come here, it's just flat land. So you said about nature, and that's what I'm trying to focus on. There's so much nature. So there are no castles, but I have to get my, pleasure out enjoying the beauty of the US. Anyway, I spoke a lot. So let's hear Michelle, Sonal, and jump in, ladies, if there's something you want to add to what someone said too.
Yes. Yeah, I totally agree with the loneliness, but also the way to first, it was really difficult for me to get a credit card or even a card for paying. Like this kind of small steps, even with a driver license, this takes time. And I thought things will be going so fast and that I also will have a job really quick and so on. So after 1 year, I realized, okay, things taking time. You need time to take things, to explore as well. So yeah, taking time and also be patient with yourself. I think this is a struggle. Yes.
Oh yeah, I
And
agree. It's
yeah,
things that would have taken you a week at home,
yeah,
take
yeah,
you
yes,
3-4 months in the new
yes,
country.
yes. And waiting for some documents and so on, and social security number. Yeah, things taking time. And if you don't really have this in your mind, you will be always impatient. Yeah. And one thing, or what I really noticed also now with our conversation, and also why I joined the community, is really the that you really find the other women who are already going through this kind of stuff. Was what you told, Nina. Nina. So it's, yeah. I think these steps to get the community, to making friendships, takes also time. Yeah, but they will come, and if they are, they are. Yeah.
That's so true. I love that what you just said, because yeah, the thing about taking time, as Janine said, 3-4 months, because yeah, we want everything to happen like that, and because it's taking time, then that adds to the frustration and the anger and overwhelm, and no one tells you all, and each country is different, I guess, right? Like
Mhm.
I'm sure, but people assume, I guess, because you're in the US, that US everything moves faster, but now you're telling me that the credit card, the driver's license takes I know in Italy people always say, oh, Italy, and Michelle, you can tell us about whether they say, oh, Italy, everything takes so long. But Sonal is saying right here in the US, she faced, things like, and I know the credit thing is a huge thing. It's like, how did, if you don't mind, Michelle, before we go to you, Sonal, how did that, because I know a lot of people struggle with that. How did you eventually get that going? Because it's a catch-22 situation, right? If you don't have a credit score, you can't buy a house, and then if you,
Yeah.
it's like crazy. So how did you overcome that?
No, actually, because I'm in marriage, so we got a debit card first, and then you really need to wait. And I wait, I think, really for 3 months or something or more, and then the Wells Fargo, yeah, it was Fargo. They ask, directly for credit, and I didn't do I didn't assign on my own, so they had a way to putting me through, and it went through. So we met a really nice woman. He really knew how to do that. Yeah,
So you had to use an agent to do it. You had to use
yeah,
an
yeah.
agent. But you came here because of your husband's job. So he had
Yes,
a
yes,
job, right? But I
yeah.
think for expats who come to another country without a job, or without a partner who has a job, I'm sure it's even harder. So
For sure, for sure,
yeah, yeah. Thank you for
definitely.
sharing that. Thank you.
That's yeah, that's interesting to hear because when I was in Spain, I was always thinking, oh my gosh, things are so quicker in the US when I was dealing with like bureaucratic stuff. Or, yeah, I would, you know, talk with other expat friends about like, if I could just take over this system for the Spanish government and streamline it and make it way more efficient, because they are really not efficient in this this one area. So it's funny to hear like from the opposite side of someone coming to the US and experiencing like that slow bureaucracy. Um, I was going to say, like, I think the things that I struggled with, well, besides the bureaucracy and banging my head against a wall sometimes in Spain, were just like the simple things like going to the grocery store and learning how everything is set up there. Because I mean, grocery stores in Spain are pretty similar to the US, but one thing that they do there and in a lot of other countries that they don't do here in the US, at least not in grocery stores that I go to, is like you have to weigh and label the fruits and vegetables yourself before going to checkout. So I would just take like a banana up to the checkout counter and they were like, okay, whatever. Yeah, you're American. I'll do this for you. But, you know, it's a real learning process. And it's kind of like you're a little kid again. It's a very humbling experience for sure. Because you're going from, you know, I'm an adult, I'm very capable, I know how to do these things. And then you're put into a totally different environment, different culture where things are done differently. And everybody's looking at you like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know. Sorry. So I think that was like one of the bigger struggles for me, like just being okay with not knowing how to do things and needing to relearn or learn in a different way.
I'm
grocery
Go ahead.
stores. Sorry, but the grocery stores were a big one for me in Asia when I moved to Japan, because I couldn't read any of the labels. I didn't know what to buy, what it is. So I ended up looking at somebody and going, okay, you look like a normal kind of person. I'm going to follow you in the grocery store. And I actually picked all the same things she picked. I'm like, okay, she looks like she would know what she's buying. I don't know what I'm picking. I don't know any of these things. And I'm going to just pick what she picks. And I'm going to go home and cook this. And it ended up being a good meal. I was like, okay, I could eat it. And this was before you had all these translation apps.
Right.
This was 15, 20 years ago. You did not even have Google Maps. So you couldn't just translate what's on the package. The only way to see what's on it was like, is there a picture of a chicken on here? There might be chicken in here. There's a picture of a mushroom on here. I don't know. It's some veggie thing. I don't know what it is. Let's try it. So that was, in the beginning, very challenging for me, is the fact that I can't even go to a grocery store and just buy basics. I would buy things that I think is milk and get home and it's sour yogurt or something. Or you think, this is bread. You get home and it's like a sweet pastry thing. And you're like, this was not, I want a toast with egg. Oh, okay.
That is hilarious.
Love that.
But yeah, that is very interesting. And you know, even when you can speak the language, when I first came to the US, right, it was now at it was so overwhelming, like 10 kinds of bread, 20 kinds of butter, you know, just like the other extreme where there's so much, and you're wondering, should I get this one or that one, or you know, it's so, I think but yeah, no, your story is unique, of course. Yeah. And Michelle, yeah, I love what you shared about, like, you know, in Spain, like taking the one banana up and then like, oh, you're an American. Yeah. So but just accepting it, I guess. And I think that's something that it's not in any playbook on how to be an expat, I think. And that's something important, right? That you can read everything about the country, and I think you'll still find something that was not covered or something specific to you. And I think all of you shared about just accepting it and going slow and understanding that it's going to take time. I think that we're always in such a hurry, I think, and especially if we've decided we want to move to another country, we want to make it happen, we want to fit in, we want to get that job, we're putting so much pressure on ourselves, I think, and that can affect our mental health. Thank you, ladies, for sharing that. And then, so yeah, so all of you shared that. Did you ever feel that, am I the only one going through this? What is happening? And not, did any of you feel like something's wrong with me? Because why am I feeling low? Why am I feeling stressed out? Any of you feel that? Experience that, rather? Go
For
ahead.
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I thought I
Yeah.
was doing the expat thing wrong. Maybe I'm just doing the whole living abroad thing wrong because things are difficult. Things are
Yeah.
frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that especially with the advent of social media and being able to see other people's lives and really their highlight reels, and you start comparing yourself, you're like, oh, that person they're thriving and they're so successful and they seem to always be happy. And I think that was when I, spend too much time on social media looking at those sorts of stories, or when I was just alone in my apartment with my thoughts and just overthinking and questioning everything, that's when I really would get more down on myself. So I think what helped me out of that, though, was finding community, but also not being afraid to do things on my own. Just going out and doing things that I enjoyed, whether it be going to the movies by myself, or hey, I don't have anyone to go to the museum with to see this exhibition that I'm interested in. I can go by myself, and just getting myself out of that apartment and out of my head for a while was really helpful.
Wow, I love that. I love that about you going, like, you want to see something and don't wait for a friend, or oh, I'm going to try and find it. I love, and then you came back feeling more refreshed, right? Even if you were by yourself, right?
Yeah. And I won't say that like every time I was successful in getting myself outside of the apartment. Sometimes I would, dwell in those feelings a little bit too much and allow it to dictate my choices, my behavior. But every time that I did choose that other path of getting out and doing something, or reaching out to someone that I had met maybe once before and like, hey, would you like to get together again for a coffee, or something like that. I think that just like practicing that like helped me to stay in the apartment less and less.
That's nice. Why were there sometimes you would not, you said would get into your head and you wouldn't do it? What would stop you from doing it at times?
Yeah, probably those thoughts of like, you're not cut out for this. Yeah, you're doing it wrong. Like, look at all these other people. Because also when I came to Spain, I did come through this organization that helped us enter the NowCap program, and they provided like an orientation week when we first got there. So I kind of met people that first week, and then connected quickly with them on social media, and then like seeing like, oh, they're out, they're enjoying themselves, they're taking advantage of this opportunity. You're not. What's wrong with you? Maybe this was a mistake. Is this really what you want? And then just going down like this spiral. And and then being like, okay, I'm going to turn on Netflix to just quiet the thoughts and kind of just, numb out a bit. Which there's nothing wrong with that sometimes too.
Right.
But in the long run, it's not the healthiest thing, and doesn't. I finally, I think, realized like, well, you're just having an in the apartment experience in another country. Like if you really want to live and build a life somewhere else, you actually have to do things to build that life.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, I had the same moments. And when I really started to reach out to people or to go, just to do things, to see people and not being alone, this was so helpful. And also in different communities or also Facebook communities. And then just meet someone. And then you have a talk, and then you know more. After that, you learn something. And so you can go on from that state of mind and not the down spiral. And thanks also for the reminder.
Yeah, no worries. I need it all the time too, even back here in the US.
Yes.
Like, it's not I think I'm jumping ahead to some of your questions.
That's fine. That's a free
It's a conversation, I think.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Because, one of the questions that you had posed to us before we got on here was there something that someone said, or what do you wish someone had told you before moving abroad? And I think it's something that I already knew before I moved abroad, but that it's still really hard until you're actually in the thick of it. But is that I wrote down, a new location does not equal a new mindset. And that's like, well, for me at least, that's like a lifelong journey and process, and something that I just have to work on continuously, no matter where I'm at.
That's true. Very true.
Yeah.
But I'd love to hear Janeline's. I mean, she is an art therapist. Like, what is your take on all of that? And mindset.
Your thing and experience. Yeah.
Well, I've always had my art with me. So every country I go to, I try out different forms of art. I found that actually, I've tried out forms of art that also sometimes forces me to go out and meet people. Like in Japan, I went and learned how to crochet from a Japanese person. So I had one of my English students, I invited her with, and she would have to translate for me between the Japanese teacher for me crocheting and her. So it was working on her English as well for free because she came with me to the class, everything, but I learned to crochet there. And in China, I did art journaling. So I got that done, and I meet people there, strangest people. I've joined a street art group where you go out, you street sketching, sketch and you paint, and then you meet all those people. So I think since I've moved abroad, I've always tried to join different groups of people. But I also made a point of not just joining expat groups. Trying to join groups where I meet the local people, where I can get to know the place where I am. And I found that before I do that, I connect differently to the country. Then when you meet people from that country, the local people, you connect more to the place. It actually makes you feel a little bit less lonely because you learn more about the culture, these little things that they tell you, little things that you should do or shouldn't do. And it opens it up and it makes it more enjoyable. It's more like, oh, I'm not just a tourist here, I'm actually living here. So now I can develop a little morning routine. Maybe every Sunday morning I go and walk in a forest or in the countryside, or create these little routines for myself. I found that was also important to get myself out, was routines, rituals. Like Sunday mornings is walking. I don't care in which place I am. I'm going to find a place to go and walk. If it's in the heat of the summer in Kuwait, it's mall walking. Really, they have a track in the mall, in the top of the mall, where people actually go and walk because it's too hot to walk outside. So people do mall walking.
I can imagine. Yeah. Woof.
Yeah. Wow.
But Janeline, no, sorry, Tom, because I know I forget my trainers. When you were in Japan and you were like on China, did you speak the language? Like, how were you communicating? Yeah, you told me you said you took that woman, the girl, to translate. But
Yes.
is all that always the case in a country where you don't speak the language? Like,
Well, I usually travel with a little phrase book. So when I traveled to Vietnam and Japan, that was 20 years ago. 22 years ago, I moved to Vietnam. There was no translation apps or anything. So I had my little phrase book. I tried to learn the language, but I'd even point to the words in the phrase book to get people to understand me. And I'd practice the words there. So after a while, I would always order the same thing after I could say the words because I couldn't say any of the other dishes. So I ended up in Japan in this little local restaurant where I did the same thing. I would order okonomiyaki, which is like a Japanese pancake made out of cabbage. And the next time I went, I ordered okonomiyaki again. And by the third time, he asked me something in Japanese. I was like, that's the only one I know. So he refused to make it for me anymore. He would just make me dishes and then show me in my phrase book what it is.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, thank you. I'm learning some new words.
I love that.
I think you're scared sometimes to try all these new words because when you pronounce them wrong, I once ordered tea and I got porridge. I was like, not what I ordered. My pronunciation must be very bad.
But that's stuck in your head and you knew from that point.
Yeah. You just learn. Yeah. It's always learning.
So yeah, I've found that I make an idiot out of myself most of the time, trying to mime things in different places and mimed a chicken because I want a chicken or a fish or something to eat. And you have all these other people laughing at you, and you're like, I'm still going to get something to eat that I want, even though I'm showing a fish swimming.
A chicken.
Janeline, you should really write a book, especially about like the whole Japanese thing. Like, you go into the supermarket following that lady, then ordering the same thing. Like, it's like so interesting. You should really think about writing just for one country at a time and your experiences there. It's very cool. I'm sure Michelle and Sonil, I'm sure have a lot of stories to share too, because it's just, and Michelle's also repat now to the US. I'm sure that's a whole experience in itself, right?
That's another panel. You can invite me.
Yeah,
again
no, they're going to do repatriation. The repatriation is like, I know that's like, in some ways, repats have even a harder time than expats because, people think, oh, you're back in your country, you should be happy, right? Yeah.
You're like, you have been like this. You didn't change. And I think if people already changed, it's difficult you can't fit in the role you have been before.
Yeah, exactly. You said that beautifully. Very cool.
And I don't want to be the spokesperson for Spain any longer. I mean, I lived there for 1 year and everybody is like asking me questions. Oh. What do they think about this? Or what is this like? And I'm like,
Interesting.
I'm sorry, I don't know the past 100 years history of Spanish politics, and I can't answer that for you. I'm sorry.
That's very interesting. Okay, and Michelle shared a little bit about how what you wish someone had told you before you moved abroad. I mean, again, I'm opening up this question to everyone.
I think.
Go ahead.
Mine is, I wish somebody told me it's going to be hard. It's going to be frustrating because you're going to not be able to do everything that you can do.
And used to be too.
Yeah, that you're used to doing. You're not going to feel as independent as you are used to be. And that still sometimes catches me off guard. Even after 12, 13 countries, I still sometimes catch myself going, this should be easier. No, it's okay. And again, yes, how do I do it here?
Yeah.
Smile and nod and go with the system. Red tape is red tape in every country.
Right.
Yeah.
Has it gotten easier for you though, Yannaline? Like I'm guessing
I
like
think I've
making
made
moves.
I don't get as frustrated or angry anymore about it. I now go in going with, I know this is going to be difficult. I know this is going to maybe take me 3 months. Let's start this. And then if it takes me 3 days, I'm like, wow, that was fast. I got it. I got a bank account in 3 days. Yes, that was
Yeah.
amazing. And then people at home were like, yeah, I just walked into the bank and opened a bank account today. I'm like, people. Some places it takes 3 months. Here it took 3 days. Oh, I'm happy. So I think I let go of expectations. I have met expectations of what I expect it should be like. Now I'm just like, whatever it happens, how long it takes, that's how long it's going to take. And I'm not going to be frustrated anymore with it. I'm just going to go with it. Yeah.
That's such a good piece of advice. Yeah, just go
Yeah.
with the flow, because I think the expectations, right? Especially if you decide to move to a country for specific reasons and they don't meet those expectations, I think that can be, and I think the job thing too. I think that's also a big thing. That thing, I'll get a job within 3 months. Like I remember when I came to the US, once I got my work permit, I just was applying, and I was like feeling so frustrated because I thought I sent so many applications. I'm definitely going to get, like, there's no such thing as that 100 applications to get you. It's so complex, right? And that's what I wish someone had told me. It's going to take a while to get a job, so enjoy your time while you're like, I lived in San Francisco, which is now unfortunately not as nice as it used to be, but it was one of the most beautiful places. And I, instead of really enjoying my time not working and exploring, playing tourist, and I wasn't even spending, I met my husband here, he's American, and so I mean he was working, but I was so scared to even spend money because I had never in my life not worked since I graduated from college. So it was like I can't spend the money, so I was like not even doing things I should have done. And then I got a job, and then I couldn't enjoy San Francisco like I could have. So I think that's the thing, to not, like, we put all this pressure on ourselves and then we can't really enjoy being playing tourist. And I think one of you said that you get a sense of belonging. Maybe it was you, January. You feel that sense of belonging when you start appreciating the culture, the people, connecting with the locals. That's when it's nice to mix with expats or people from your own country, but I think you start falling in love with the country when you start being like the locals. So I think that's so important. Anyone want to add to what we just discussed? What's, if someone had told you what's something you did that helped you feel settled, what would you say to someone living abroad who's struggling and feels completely alone right now, or hasn't even moved abroad yet? Because our topic is the things no one tells you about living abroad. You're not alone. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think for me, I would love to have like this community or other community already in the beginning. So yeah, I think this would be the most important thing for me, really, for the sharing part, and also to feel not alone to going through all the steps, and also to allow yourself that you're in the state, and then going out, also what Michelle told, it's always a big step to change your mind and say, okay, whatever, I'm going out today and meet someone. So I think this, I would love that I have done this more, or in more, just more. I did it, but
Better late than never, right? It's better
yeah,
late than
that's so true.
yeah.
And one really nice thing what carried me through. I'm going to a mermaid fire that's in Santa Cruz, and we have a fire on the beach, and this once a month, and we just meet with women and singing and meditating and chilling there. And this was the first thing what I did here, and it feels so good, and I'm still going there. And something what you love and also what you would like to continue. So This also helped really.
Very cool.
Oh yes, joining all these groups that you. I love hiking, so in each country I go, I join a hiking group and meet people that way. Except here in Kuwait, there's no hiking here. But in all the other countries, in Kuwait, I had to change. I was like, they don't have hiking here. There are no forests. There's no mountains to go and hiking. So what do people do? And I found kayaking. I was like, okay, then I'll start kayaking. And I
Love it.
made a very good friend kayaking. I was like, yes, you just by doing something you enjoy, you actually meet
Yes.
like-minded people, and they might not be expats, and that is actually maybe better in a way because they can show you around, they can
Yeah.
get you to feel more grounded a little bit. Yeah.
Yes. I love that. And also kayaking is cool.
I love kayaking. Yeah. I thought like I would tell someone who's like feeling really down, really lonely, um, first that that's okay and that's normal. Because yeah, what we were kind of touching on before, I think like the beating yourself up
Mm-hmm.
um, is not going to help and is not going to motivate you to want to make a change really. So that's the first thing. And yeah, I agree with Yanaline and Sunhil, like, putting yourself into opportunities or situations where you can meet other like-minded people. And yeah, locals, not just expats. I think I probably clung to like my expat friends a little more than maybe I should have, or I don't want to say should have. I don't know. You can tell I like see a therapist, and I'm like, don't should on yourself, Michelle. um, but I think one thing that I wish I had done more of was like, trying to meet more locals and getting more of that experience. It was interesting because I kept hearing from other people in like expat groups that it's so hard to like break into friend groups with Spaniards because they're very they tend to like grow up with the same friends and they stay very tight and close knit, and it can be really hard to break into that. And I think hearing some of that, I thought, oh, it's just going to be too hard to make any like actual Spanish friends. But like someone else's experience doesn't have to dictate mine.
Yes.
So
Totally agree.
yeah, to kind of okay, take that person's experience as and their advice as someone who's been there longer, but don't let it stop you from trying things, because that doesn't mean that that's going to be the exact same experience you'll have.
Right. That's a really good point because people,
Mhm.
that's, what did people not tell you about living abroad? But then people can also share their experiences and their assumptions, which might not be, so might not be true for you or might not. So I'm really glad you brought that up because like we sometimes just go based on what someone else has told us and it may be very different. So thank you for sharing that. That's so important to keep in mind. Yeah. And talking about friendship, because we have only 6 minutes left, and loneliness and finding communities. All of you are members of the Expat Women membership, all fairly new members. And as Sonal said, she wish she had joined last year and met all these women and that's why I created the Expat Woman because I struggled so much when I came to San Francisco, and I just yeah, it's nice to meet with locals, but I found like I'd be in the elevator in a building and I know this person has lived abroad just because how she would approach me. She'd ask me a question, she would smile. Again, not knocking Americans, but I feel there's more curiosity when people have lived abroad people are
Mhm.
more, they want to know more about you and where you're from, and not just in a what's the word, not curious, I can't get the word, like I can't get the word, but they genuinely want to know about you, and that's why I started the Expat Woman. So just if each of you briefly want to share, I know you're very new, what made you join the membership and what you have you enjoyed so far about it?
Well, for
Who's
me,
that?
it was joining and meeting all these other women who are also expats and trying to work online, trying to work in the country where they are. And it's sort of, you think, where are all these people? Where do all these expats work? And oh, here they are, and supporting
Mhm.
each other. And you actually meet each other, and you're like, oh, you're also struggling with that same thing I am. How do you work while abroad and most of your clients are in other countries? Or how do you adjust to this new culture in this work environment and everything? And I found that I've already, only in these couple of months that I've been part of the Expat Women group, found people to connect with and found some like minded people and some connections there, not just business wise, but personal as well. Yes, which is
Thank
good.
you.
You feel less alone that way, I think. Like
Yeah, and I'm
Sunil
so
said,
glad you joined.
you do
Yeah.
feel less alone.
Um, I joined, I think back in May or June. I think I got served an ad about the Expat Woman Summit.
Oh, nice. Oh, I
Um,
love
yeah,
it.
there you go. So your
Cool.
ads are working, Nina.
Okay, good.
I don't know where I saw it, whether it was Facebook
Facebook, that was
or
yeah, that was the first time I've done an ad in like maybe 10 years, and I'm so glad. I thank you for sharing that. I didn't even know that.
yeah. As a former marketing person, I used to hate doing ads on Facebook. I thought they were worthless.
Yeah.
And I mean, they weren't as good to me as like LinkedIn ads with the targeting, but your ad found me. So,
So
Cool.
happy to hear it.
and so I joined. I was like, oh, it's free. Okay, great. And then I ended up actually like, you had other options, like a paid option for more resources. And I was like, I'm going to make this investment. And then, and then I thought about, joining, and I was like, okay, I don't have a job right now. Like, do I want to spend what I have on another membership? Cause I'm big about like joining like different online things. And then like, I'm like, whoa, I'm spending this much a month, like, and like, but I thought about it and I was like, I viewed it as like an investment in myself. At first, I also thought maybe I didn't want to join because I didn't have my own business, or I wasn't coming at it through that way. Um, but I thought to myself, I'm just gonna get curious about all sorts of different opportunities out there, and I saw it as a way to learn more, especially as I'm, in this career transition, what I might want to possibly do next. And and the best thing so far has been, I think, joining this panel and like putting myself out there. I also like that the community you've created, you're all about like promoting members and making them, more visible and helping them do that. So thank you, Nina.
Thank you, Michelle. Thanks for sharing that. And yes, that the I've noticed the members that come into the Expat Women want to build that visibility. They're not sure how, but it's no matter whether you have a job, you don't have a job. I think by putting yourself out there, because we all have unique experiences and expertise, and I think like what all of you are doing today, like no one's an expert on this topic, but you have all lived this experience, and you get also more clarity. I find every time I talk about these topics, I get more clar and I learn from
Mhm.
other women. So it's you also learning, like, so I learned so many things. It just broadens my horizons. So thanks for sharing. I didn't ask you, Janine, how you found the Expat Women membership. I'll come back to you. The summit. I know you came to the summit. Let's have Sonlil, and then we'll just quickly. And I know we are at time, so we'll go quickly.
Yeah. So really quick, I really enjoy it, and I really want also to learn from other women, because I think if we women connecting more and more, we have a lot of more power. So I really love that, and yeah, and also learning from other experience. I feel like now I'm in the child mode, and I'm growing now, and later I can show others who will make change or living abroad. Yeah, and it's in community we are so good in learning together and sharing experience, and yeah, on a personal but also in a professional way. So thank you for this opportunity. I really love it.
You're welcome. And Sonal, you found the YouTube videos just by Googling expats. How did you find it?
And I back I think back in March or so I already saw your summit, but
Okay.
I didn't have the connection. And then I met also another woman who also is German American, and she taught me again about expat. And then I started to recognize, oh, actually, I'm an expert, and
Oh,
because I didn't know about this word actually,
right.
so I couldn't do any research before.
Okay.
And so yeah, I started, and then on LinkedIn and on Google, I found you, yeah, and also some others, and yes, that's how I came through.
Beautiful. I love it. Thank you. And Janine, how did you find us? And then we will end. I'll have you guys share one quick thing, and then we'll end it.
I found you on LinkedIn. Yes.
Okay. And that's you found me or the expat woman?
No, I found the Expat Summit. I found it at Foot
Oh,
Expat Summit on LinkedIn.
so
And that's
all
how
three
I
of you came to the summit, which is I love that. That's so amazing. And one more thing I want to add, the other thing I do focus on with the expat women is giving women the opportunity, as Michelle said, to share their voices. You know, many of us as expats, I feel we lose our voice when we move to another country because I think Michelle, you had shared how you feel. Am I good enough? And you get so caught up in your head, and or if you don't have a job, you feel I have nothing to share. Who's going to listen to me, right? And that's how I felt when I first moved here. I didn't have a job. I felt like a nobody. And it's part of what I also do is give through these events. We're going to have the summit next year. Every at the summit, our members, even though they've never spoken maybe before at a summit or have ever hosted a workshop, get the opportunity either to be on a panel or to be a speaker at our summit. And that's part of my goal with the expat room, to give women living abroad the ability to stand out, share their voice, share their expertise, their experiences, because all of you have unique experiences. So you create opportunities for yourself while also inspiring others and creating impact, influence, and a legacy. Like these videos, if as long as LinkedIn, YouTube exists, they'll be there forever. And it's all of us are creating a legacy for future expat women. So just think about that. And maybe 20 years down the line someone watches this, their experiences might be totally different. Who knows, with AI and all that, you'll have an AI companion helping you in the Japanese store saying, Janine, you need to buy this and make this right. Who knows? But you still need to know what happened before, right? So I thought, yeah. So very quickly, how is there anything you want support with, anything you support people with? And one last word of wisdom for anyone who feels they're alone. And very quick, each of you want to go, we go around the room and you can share.
Well, the whole not feeling alone thing, for Healing Art Journey, every month, once a month, I have a free therapeutic art group. Just any expat woman or any woman who wants to join can join once a month. It's the last Saturday of the month, an hour of creating together. And you don't have to be an artist. That's not the thing. It's not creating a picture or something. It's you make marks and you talk and you share. It's more the connecting with each other makes you feel less alone. So if anybody wants to come, the last Saturday of the month, just join the newsletter on my website, Healing Art Journey, and then come join.
Very cool. And Janine, I'll have you share those links on the three platforms. Not here. Don't do it here because they can't
Not
see.
yet. No, I'll do
But,
that.
on the three platforms on where this is live streaming, if you can just share what you just said and put the link. That'll be great. LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook with this live stream. Okay. Thank you.
Right.
Okay, Michelle and Sonil, is there any support you need? Anything you want to add? Go ahead.
Yeah. Of course, if someone wants to talk about this topic more, yeah, you can connect me on LinkedIn. You can find me on my name. And yeah, I would love to connect with more women. Doesn't matter where you are, who you are. So I would love to connect.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Same as Sunhill, I'm a listening ear for anyone who's struggling with anything, really. It doesn't even have to be about this topic, I'll listen to whatever. And yeah, reach out, connect with me on LinkedIn. Some support that I'm looking for, I guess, since I am, exploring different avenues with like teaching English or even maybe working for an international education organizations, like study abroad, that sort of thing. If there's anyone out there that has insights on that, I would love to connect and chat more. And last thing I'll say, like, I like what you said, Nina, about don't be afraid to use your voice, because I think that I've definitely felt like that. And before coming on this panel, I thought, well, I'm not an expert in anything. What am I really going to say? But like reminding myself, like, no, you have something to say. You have life experience. You have something of value to share, and everybody does. So I would just leave it at that.
I'm very glad you said that, because the work experiences we've had in our previous countries, the challenges, even even living in Spain, even if you're not an expert in Spain, and if people like reach out to you and say, can you tell me about this in Spain? But you have certain things you can share. So I just want everyone to remember that whatever you're going through right now in your life abroad, you are unique. You actually have the competitive edge. You have the advantage. You may be able to speak more than one language, and you have navigated life in another country. And I think that itself, there should be a degree for that. Like, you should get like an honorary degree, expat degree for living in another country. And even if you're struggling, it doesn't matter. You still move there. So, but I want to thank all three of you so much for being on this panel, staying on a little. You can see with this topic, I think we could run this for several hours. It's
Sure.
continue to
It
talk.
was lovely. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome.
Janely needs to go to sleep, though.
Yeah, Janely, this is the QR code. If anyone wants to join the membership, you have more questions, you can ask me, Michelle, Sonhill, and Janlyn. And thank you all so much. And I'll see you next month at our next Bold Moves Abroad live coffee chat with my members. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.